So a while ago, I converted a friend's car to 180 engine management, and we removed the AVA. It was a turbo AVA, and one of the big problems we had was ignition. And by switching to ME7, which is the 180 engine management system, we gained coil unplugged, so it kind of mitigated the ignition issue. However, it's something that I've always wanted to come back to, and because the ABA has sequential ignition with the distributor, however, having only one coil and all the length of wire, cap, rotor, and such, by the time you get to the spark plug gap with a boosted application, you have to run a really small gap to keep the spark from blowing out. Which, it is what it is. However, it does have adverse side effects, especially depending on fuel type. For example, if you have a really small plug gap and you're trying to run E85, really what leads me back to try to find a solution to run coil unplug using a stock AVA ECU. And this is what I've come up with so far. I'm going to be using an Arduino, and the basic logic behind it is using the cam sensor to sync TDC, and that's how the Arduino knows where top dead center is, and the first coil fire after that is cylinder 1. The way I have this set up right now is it's just batch, so it only has two outputs, so 1 and 4 would be tied together and 2 and 3 would be tied together. So basically it fires channel 1, channel 2, channel 1, channel 2, but it syncs TDC using the cam sensor. And essentially the way that that's set up is on the back here we have our input that's tapped into and runs to this wire coming up right here into this NPN transistor. So that runs into the center post of the transistor, and then the Arduino gets a ground trigger from here, basically made by the transistor, syncs TDC, and the coil trigger comes from the back as well, goes through a 1000k ohm resistor, and then runs to the Arduino. Since the project's not done, I wanted to be able to modify the code without having to open the case, and it also doubles as the power supply, so I just used a standard USB cable. And so the Arduino is going to get powered off the car by using a cell phone charger that I just stripped down and put in some heat shrink. I was going to try to fit this in the case as well, but real estate is limited, so it's going to live external of the case. However, this is one of the best ways to get a clean 5-volt power supply to an Arduino in an automotive application. And since the system voltage constantly changes between, like let's say 11 and 14 volts, Arduinos are very susceptible to voltage spikes and dips, so this has the ability to absorb spikes and to make up for the dips with capacitors, so that's why I went that route. And the trigger wires, so 1 and 4 and 2 and 3 are paired. So 1 and 4 has its own trigger wire, and it goes through a diode, and same thing with the other channel, and they run through the case, and then they will run out to the coils. It's as simple as that.